Hey guys, we're here at this shelter I made back. Got a squirrel needs skinning, and it's a pretty warm day, so I'm gonna have to build a fire to keep all the bugs off of it. So I'll make a spot right here, build a little fire, you know, nothing big, just a smudge fire. Maybe eat a quarter, eat the front leg or the hind leg or something. But yeah, I'm gonna start the fire with this knife and a rock. God, stay with me. So, you got my tinder bundle here. It's nothing fancy, just some cattail, a little bit of bark and some leaves mostly. But I find with the knife method, it works better. It's actually safer, I mean, if you set the char cloth down instead of trying to hit like that, you know, on top of the rock. But anyway, this method takes longer than with a fire steel, but it's possible. Like I said, it takes time. I'm not going to cut any of this out because then it wouldn't be real. There we go. Finally. Huh. Alright. Ah. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I got a sore throat, guys, so that was kind of a little bit painful blowing it into flame. Alright. It's not a fire steel, but works all the same. Yeah, so I'll build this fire up just a little bit, not a ton because got a little bit of brush here, but just for a smoky fire, you know. Alright. This is a really wet, rotten piece, so I'm going to stick that on there. And it'll probably just smoke and smoke and smoke. And alright. Let me tie the squirrel up. Alright guys, so I made that gambrel yesterday, and just a stick with some bank line tied to it. Nothing fancy. All you're going to do is tie 2 loops, one on each end for the animal's feet. And this is just one way of doing it. Most like professional gambrels, they have hooks that go through the tendon in the back of the foot. But this will do it. You're not going to save the feet on a squirrel anyway, so it's a good small game one. I'm going to get this out of here. There we go. All you got to do, put one foot in there, tighten it down a lot. Hope you can see this. And then put the other foot in there. Tighten it down a lot. And make sure they're semi-level. There. And gambrel fit for a king. This isn't going to be a how-to skin a squirrel. This is just going to be me skinning a squirrel. But I wanted to talk to you today. Oh right, hang on a second. You're gonna love my skinning shirt. Okay, ready? All the conformity, all the preps in the world, you know, preppy people, in style. You know that brand, Hollister? I picked up one of their shirts at a garage sale. I'm gonna go where no prep has gone before, skin a squirrel in it. Just cause. I mean, I need a junk shirt to do this in anyway, so can't get much junkier than this to me. All you're paying for is advertisement. An expensive brand. But anyway, I'm supposed to tell you a story. So this is actually it's a contest video, but calling it a contest video is really a turn-off to me. Like when I see, oh, contest entry March 22nd, that's not an interesting video title at all. So this is the only time I'm going to mention it. But now I'm going to tell you 2 stories. I'm supposed to do one, but it's supposed to be on the peak of my bushcraft career, like the most interesting story, the apex of it, I guess. And well, you see, I'm going to Isle Royale this summer, which is up near the UP of Michigan, and you know, it's got a bunch of wolves and moose. It's a national park. You should really Google it. Not many people know about it. No hunting, obviously. And by the way, I didn't kill this squirrel in the springtime. I don't really believe in killing things in the springtime. It's when they have children, have kids, not children. Okay, so yeah, that would probably be story worthy, but I haven't done it yet, so you're gonna have to settle for the next best thing, which is the time I almost got lost. So let's just jump right in. I was running on a 10-mile trail in the UP. Just going out for a 10-mile run on a trail. I'd only done it once before, so it was pretty familiar. I mean, it was kind of familiar. I remembered it from the last year. But so I was running, right? And it's 5 miles out, 5 miles back. It's on the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. That's in the UP as well. But if you've never been to the Pictured Rocks, I suggest you go. It's beautiful. It's like God's art gallery. It's really cool. It's got like all the pigments from the earth, orange and pink and stuff. It's really pretty. And anyway, the trail I was on goes on top of them. But getting back to it, I was running 5 miles out and then 5 miles back, and I didn't see a person the entire way the first time, and the same with the second time. It was beautiful. I dropped my camera down a waterfall. This was last summer. I dropped my camera down a waterfall. Otherwise I would have had a lot of pictures, but I still got 7. Yeah, I was going for a fancy shot, and that always kills you. Anyway, like I said, I got a sore throat, so bear with me. So I'm running along, and about 2 miles out, there's a fork in the trail. One goes left, one goes way right, or something like that. And, wait, no, it was, okay, so the fork was facing me. Actually, it was going away from me, so I was on one of the trails, probably the one on the right. Bug on my blade. And so I was on the fork, so I didn't even realize it was a fork at the time. And so I just run along, didn't even notice it at the 2 mile mark about. So I'm coming back after I turn around at 5 miles and I start coming back, and like I said, there was nobody like within 20 miles of there. Well, obviously there was, but like 20 miles out in any direction except the way I came. But yeah, so I was lonely up there, and I come back to that fork and I didn't even realize it, but there was that fork, right? Oh, this is hard to talk in skin. You should try it. But yeah, so I come back and there is that fork, and I went the wrong way. I took the fork on the left where I should have took the fork on the right, and there's no trail signs. I mean, there are, but they're way dark brown. They're in disrepair. You can't even read them. But anyway, man, this is a mangled squirrel, even for roadkill. So I'm running down that fork, and pretty soon I realize, whoa, this has been more than 10 miles. What the heck? So I kept running and kept running. Pretty soon I got to these cliffs, and to this day I still don't know where they are. But then I turned around, and by this time I was panicking. Panicking, just, oh my gosh, what the heck? What is the deal? Oh man, I was talking to myself. I was yelling for people. I was like, where am I? Hello? Is there anybody? And so I turned around, and I thought, was there a fork or something? I must have taken the wrong trail somewhere back there. So I finally turned around, I retraced my steps, and it took me about 5 times passing that trail to actually see it. And I took the wrong trail. But I finally got back to the trail and realized, oh man, and by this time it was getting dark. It was almost dark. I mean, I'd spent a good 2 hours there, and usually 10 miles only takes me an hour and 10 minutes. 2 or 3 hours actually I spent up there, because I stopped for pictures. And so I finally found my way back. I guess the moral of that story is, well, I didn't finish it. Then I ran back home, and not home, but my family was at the beach called Sand Point. So I ran back there and found them. And they were worried. Of course, my mom's always worried, so not really a difference. But yeah, this is really a mangled squirrel. That's not a good story at all. And it hurts me to tell it because my voice, you know, I got a sore throat. But anyway. So, the next one, this first story was more survival geared. The second one is not. It's about my grandfather, my great-grandfather. And he was like 100% Native American, Ojibwe, Chippewa, for other people that don't know what Ojibwe means, which is just a Native American tribe in Michigan. Everybody knows what Chippewa is, right? Is there a college team or something? I don't know, I don't follow sports. But, yeah. So, the second story is really interesting. That first story was Jack. But the second story, not about me, it's about my grandfather. My aunt told me this when I was young, really young. And so, way back in the early 1900s, I don't know what year, it was just old. My grandfather, he was probably 10 or 12 years old. He lived in the UP, almost in Canada. It might have been Canada. We're still not sure. It was either the UP or Canada. But he used to live there with his mom, and he had like 6 siblings. And at that time in Michigan, lumber was a really big business, really big export. You know, we had so many trees, so many logging, so many loggers. Logging was really big. So, again, sorry about my voice. So, he came from a poor family. I mean, his mom, that would be my great-great-grandmother, I think? Yeah. His mom, she had almost no money. And they barely got by. They would hunt and garden, and that's how they ate. They didn't go to stores. They barely went to stores. Even when my grandfather was older, I mean, he still had a garden. Living in the city, he had a garden in his backyard. In his front yard, too. He knew all the trees. I never met him. This always happens. Stupid dang tail. Yeah. So, he did everything himself. He was a bushcrafter. He was a do-it-yourselfer. He was whatever you want to call him. He was a mountain man. Just no mountains. Yeah. But he did everything himself. Stupid squirrel. I never could get him off in one piece. I'll just take the hairs, use them for something. Yeah. And so he made everything himself. His family did. And this was back when he was about 12. And he worked for a logging company. I'm not sure which one, but he was a little boy running around the sawmill, just grabbing stuff. He was like the gopher. Just, hey, I need 5 2x4s over here now, or we gotta oil up the saw blade. He was just that, pretty much, you know, little kid. We'll eat that later. But anyway, he was a little boy like that, and he went to school too, but he didn't have much of an education. I mean, like all families back then, work was first. You know, you had to eat before you could go to school. It's not like that now. But anyway, where was I? I know, I'm really bad at telling stories. Bear with me. Okay, so he's a Native American, does everything himself. Little boy working for the lumber company, the sawmill company. And so one day, he's walking home from work. Oh, this is nasty. I'm not eating this. Roadkill. Screw it. So, little boy. Got the hammer. And, oh man, I'm sorry for the pauses, guys. I gotta skin this. Memorial Day. Yeah, that's gross squirrel. I'm not eating that. Not even sure what the heck that is. Dang roadkill. Okay, this is getting weird. Yeah, that's not usable. I guess I'll cut my losses. Literally. Yeah. So my grandfather, that is nasty. He's a little boy, and he's walking home from work one day, and he's using a logging trail, you know, hundreds of them all over the UP in Canada, just using like a little old 2-track trail or whatever. I don't even know if it was that good. But he hears this howling. Him and his friend were walking home together, and they hear this howling, and they immediately knew it was wolves. And wolves were much more common back then in the UP, almost than they are today. But so he hears this howling, and they know it's a pack of wolves, and it's really close. It's like a quarter mile from them. So they keep walking home, but the howling keeps getting nearer, and yeah. See you people. I hope you're not watching. This is a greasy hide. Yeah, no sense me eating that. I'll just get sicker. So they hear the howling, and there is a wolf pack about a quarter mile from them. And so it keeps getting nearer, and they're still miles from home. It's just about dark. It's getting dark. And I'm told that they see it. They see the wolf pack. And so my grandfather thinks, oh, we can climb up a tree. So they climb up a tree, and the wolf pack is surrounding them. Now, I'm 90% sure this is true, but there's still some doubt. The wolf pack is surrounding them on the ground. They're up in the tree, huddled together for warmth, and all night long, the wolves are barking up the tree at them. All night long. All night long. Can you imagine what my great-great-grandmother would have been thinking? Her son didn't come home, and she hears howling off in the distance. Imagine that. So, it finally gets to be morning. They spent the night, wolves snarling at them. They're just up there. Oh man, how am I going to get home? How am I going to get out of this? Oh, crazy. And they... That's a terrible pelt. Look at that. So they're up in the tree, and so it finally gets to be morning. All night long, they're barked at, snarled at. Wolves are trying to go up the tree, but they can't because they're wolves. And there's 5 or 6 of them. And they're pretty darn good size. They're big wolves. But, so, when it finally gets to be morning, the sun rises, it's probably 6 or 7. The wolves finally go away. And so my grandfather waits up there for Great Hollister shirt, I know. If they saw what I was doing to this, I swear. So they finally, in the morning, they finally get to be, the wolves leave them alone. And so they wait until they can't hear the howling anymore, which is probably a half hour, I think. I don't know. But it probably felt like forever. And so they finally come down once they can't hear the wolves howling. And they go home. And my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, is freaking out. She's like, "Oh my gosh, where the heck have you been?" Like any mother would, you know. And, alright. So he explains it to her. And she doesn't believe him. She thinks he's been out at his friend's house or something, eating candy or whatever, I don't know. Doing something. But he said she never believed him. Ever. And then, yeah, so that's his story. There's another story of him and bears. Him and a bear. He had a bucket of berries. He went blackberry picking. Or some berry picking, I can't remember which. And picks a huge basket full. And he goes to his cabin, goes home to his cabin. He was probably just in the yard or something. And he hears, like, I can't make a bear noise. You know. And behind him, there's this huge grizzly bear. Grizzly, not black. Grizzly bear. Just standing there, ready to charge. It's kicking the ground, scraping it. And he said he knew it either wanted him or the berries. So he was probably 20 feet away from his front door or something like that. Maybe 5 yards, I don't know. But so he decides to make a dash for it. And as soon as he does, the bear chases him. And he throws the bucket, which is almost as big as he is, full of berries, to the right. And he runs to his front door, which is to the left. And so the bear goes after the berries. And then he finally gets inside, shuts the door, tells his mom, and his mom was upset he didn't get the berries. Yeah. I don't know if she believed him on that one, but I'm told he's a storyteller. He was a storyteller. Now, I have no idea if these stories are true, but I believe them. You know, just like Jeremiah Johnson. Don't know if he was even real. Actually, we do know he was real, but we don't know how real. So, yeah, my grandfather, great-grandfather, on my mom's side, he was a mountain man. He knew all the trees. He ended up dying in the city, though. But he had lakefront property, a bunch of it, up by, I think it's Charlevoix, yeah. It was, nobody knows where that is if they don't live in Michigan. But for all you Michigan people, it was up by Charlevoix on the Intermediate Lake. If anybody knows where that is, probably nobody. But yeah, he had a bunch of that. And yeah, I feel like this is a really boring story because I keep losing track because I'm working this hide. So yeah, he was, once he got to be older, an adult, he was 6'4", and I don't know where that went because I'm 5'7", but he was a big guy. Once my aunt and my mom, my aunt and my other aunt were in a car together, and there was this guy, this creepy guy, that kept following them around. And so they drove to his house, and he was sitting on the curb, just in his car waiting. I don't know why. He was just a creep, like I said. But so they went to my great-grandfather's house, and they told him what was going on. He never had a car, by the way. He never owned a car or a phone. But he went out to the garage, grabbed a baseball bat, and chased that car down the street. It's pretty funny. Stalker. Total lesson there. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have for stories. One time I tried to run away. I ran along there in that direction. Ended up in the town park. I was sleeping on a picnic table when they found me. I wanted to go to Canada, which is weird because north is that way, and I was going that way. Anyway, but yeah, I was all set to go. I took off, and I was gone for probably 9 hours. And the cops finally found me, though. My mom was frantic. But you know, it's all parents. If I was a parent, I'd probably be frantic too. If I get to be one. If I live to 27. I hope so. If not, that's fine too. Yeah, this skinning job turned out crappy. I got the lower half, and that's pretty much it. But you know, it's still usable. What do you think of my new bathing suit? Just kidding. Hey guys. I'm not going to flesh the entire thing today, but I just wanted to show you a Native American way of fleshing. I think it's Native American. I might have invented it. I don't know. It's probably Native American though. You take the hide. I've never seen this done anywhere else. But you take the hide, you slap it on a tree, and then you use the bark as an abrasive to just get all that meat and fat and grease off there. It works pretty good. I mean, you don't have to sit there with a fleshing knife for an hour. I mean, it's decent. Look at that. There was a lot more. I'm not going to tan this now. I'm going to do that on a separate video, but yeah, you can learn a lot from Native Americans, obviously. Yeah. It's not the world's best method, but it works. It's doable. I'm thinking Native Americans probably did this before there was fleshing knives. I'll also just use a stick sometimes, and I know they use that method. It doesn't get all of it off, but it Gets a lot of it off. This isn't a bad piece of hide. I mean, I can make that into something. I'm actually working. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm actually working on a coat. But this fall, I am going to ravage those squirrels. There are probably 20 in my yard alone. In my yard alone, like within 30 feet of the house. So, and they're becoming a nuisance. They actually live in my attic, some are. So I'll kill those. You're gonna have a lot of squirrel meat. And it won't be torn apart by the city bus. Like this guy. I should have done that possum I got in the trap. He's still in my freezer. Still in the trap, actually. Oh, I'm such a weirdo. Now, for you city people, fleshing is just, you get all the grease and the meat and the fat off the back. You know, flies really aren't that bad. Might just be because of the temperatures last night. It got pretty cold. But yeah, I'm sorry again for the lack of videos. My brother actually cut the cable, like the cable, you know, that supplies internet and internet, phone, and TV. That cable. Yeah, I was pretty mad when he did that, but then I spent like 2 hours out there on my hands and knees. We were actually gardening, and he pounded a stake into it, cut the sucker right in half. And yeah, but that's okay. I spent probably 2 hours out there on my hands and knees trying to fix it. I actually got it. I could hold it together, but then when I tried to duct tape it like that, it didn't work. So then I go and get my soldering gun. Tried to solder it together, and that didn't work either. That's a touchy wire. And then, you're gonna love this. I actually got the C-clamp. I gotta find some mullein. Get rid of this cough. Make some tea. But, yeah, so I haven't had internet, phone, or TV for like the past week. Few days. I don't know. 5 days. Bumblebee. Or a leaf. Yeah. But I actually got the C-clamp out. And I tried to C-clamp the wires together. I tried to clamp them together. But that didn't work either. I was so upset. If I would have just spent the night out there and held them together, then my family could have watched something. Just hope I don't sneeze, right? Cut the entire thing off. I guess I might flesh most of it. Oh crap, it's Memorial Day. I gotta get back. But yeah. So this is a contest for PB Preston or PR Preston or something like that. But he lives in not Minnesota, Wisconsin. He's a good guy, you should check him out. Hopefully I can get this video edited and stuff by the end. He's giving away a condor bush lure, I think. So that'll be nice. One thing on the knife fire, the spark and knife fire, or the flint and knife fire, don't ever do that unless you need to, because it's just taking steel off of the back of your knife. I know it's not much, but over time it could add up and possibly weaken it enough to where when you're batoning or skinning with it, it might break, possibly. But an old hickory, those, I have no problem throwing sparks off those. I mean, they're $1 a dozen. I actually got 2 of them in my aunt's basement for free. She didn't want them. But yeah, I use one for wood. One's like my beater bushcraft knife. I use it for batoning, all that crap. And then I use one for skinning that I keep a really nice edge on, and it's awesome. It's probably my favorite knife I have right now, the old hickory. Even though it's cheapo junk one, I'd take it over. I'd take it over almost anything. Anyway, a knife is a knife. It's the woodsman that counts. It's what you can do with it. And I think that's a lot of people think it's too much gear, too much on the gear. They put too much emphasis on it. It's not what you have, it's what you know up here that's going to save you. If you're ever lost, like I was, getting turned around on that trail. This is probably a pretty choppy video. One more thing. I've got the, I actually broke my Kodak, the waterproof camera I used to use. I actually broke that. Don't ask how. It's sad. But anyway, I bought the Olympus Tough something something something. It's waterproof. You probably know what it is, but for some reason I can't get that to upload. Like, I made a glasses video, a glasses fire video earlier, and I can't upload that to Windows Movie Maker. Does anybody know why? I mean, I can't do anything with those videos. I spent like an hour out in the woods, and I got nothing to show for it. So, if anybody knows what the heck the deal is or how I can fix that, it'd be greatly appreciated. People don't think squirrels have fat. Nobody thinks squirrels have fat. Look at the grease on my fingers. It is oil. Look at how wet they are from doing this. People say, oh, you can't live on a squirrel. Yeah! I'll be right there! It looks like I gotta go. Crap, it's Memorial Day. Anyway. Yeah, I gotta go. See you soon. Maybe I'll get a squirrel that doesn't fall apart when I try and skin it. I should probably change my shirt too before I go see my family.